3. Hannah's first toggle. And apparently they were having sex in Bethany's parents' bedroom. Hannah Maris stared at her best friend, Mona Vanderwall, across the table. It was 2 days before school started, and they were sitting in the King James Mall's Terrence French-inspired cafe, River Guanche, drinking red wine, comparing Vogue to Teen Vogue, and gossiping. Mona always knew the best dirt on people. Hannah took another sip of wine and noticed a 40-some guy staring lecorously at them. A regular Humbert, Hannah thought, but didn't say it out loud. Mona wouldn't get the literary reference. But just because Hanna was the most sought-after girl at Rosewood Day didn't mean she was above sampling the books on Rosewood Day's recommended summer reading list now and then, especially when she was lying out next to her pool with nothing to do. Besides, Lolita looked deliciously dirty. Mona swiveled around to see who Hanna was looking at. Her lips twisted up into a naughty smile. We should flash him. Count of 3, Hannah's amber eyes widened. Mona nodded. On 3, the girls slowly pulled up the hems of their already sky-high minis, revealing their panties. Humbert's eyes boggled, and he knocked his glasses off into the crotch of his khakis. Shit, he yelled before he shot off to the bathroom. Nice, Mona said. They threw their napkins on their uneaten salads and stood to leave. They'd become friends the summer between 8th and 9th grade, when they both got cut from Rosewood's freshman cheerleading tryouts. Vowing to make the squad the following year, they decided to lose tons of weight so they could be cute, perky girls the boys tossed into the air. But once they got skinny and gorgeous, they decided cheerleading was passé, and the cheerleaders were losers, so they never bothered trying out for the team again. Since then, Hanna and Mona shared everything. Well, almost everything. Hanna hadn't told Mona how she'd lost weight so quickly. It was too gross to talk about. While hardcore dieting was sexy and admirable, there was nothing glamorous about eating a ton of fatty, greasy, preferably cheese-filled crap and then puking it all up. But Hanna was over that little bad habit by now, so it didn't really matter. You know that guy had a boner, Mona whispered, gathering the magazines into a pile. What's Shawn gonna think? He'll laugh, Hanna said. I don't think so. Hanna shrugged. He might. Mona snorted. Yeah, flashing strangers goes well with the virginity pledge. Hanna looked down at her Michael Kors purple wedges. The virginity pledge. Hannah's incredibly popular, extraordinarily hot boyfriend, Shawn Ackard, the boy she'd lusted over since 7th grade, was behaving a little strangely lately. He'd always been Mr. All-American Boy Scout, as in volunteering at the old age home and serving turkey to the homeless on Thanksgiving. But last night, when Hanna, Shawn, Mona, and a bunch of other kids were hanging out in Jim Freed's cedar hot tub, covertly drinking Coronas, Shawn had taken All-American Boy Scout up a notch. He'd announced a little proudly that he'd signed a virginity promise and vowed not to have sex before marriage. Everyone, Hanna included, had been too stunned to respond. He's not serious, Hanna said confidently. How could he be? A bunch of kids signed the promise. Hanna figured it was just a passing trend, like those Lance Armstrong bracelets or yogalettes. You think? Mona smirked, brushing her long bangs out of her eyes. Let's see what happens at Noel's party next Friday. Hanna gritted her teeth. It seemed like Mona was laughing at her. I want to go shopping, she said, standing up. About Tiffany's? Mona asked. Awesome. They strolled through the brand new luxe section of the King James Mall, which had a Burberry, a Tiffany's, a Gucci, and a Coach. Smelled of the last Michael Kors perfume, and was packed full of pretty back-to-prep schoolgirls with their beautiful moms. On a solo shopping trip a few weeks ago, Hanna had noticed her old friend Spencer Hastings slipping into a new Kate Spade and remembered how she used to special order an entire season's worth of nylon shoulder bags from New York. Hanna felt funny knowing these sorts of details about someone she wasn't really friends with anymore, and as soon as she watched Spencer pursue Kate Spade's leather luggage, Hanna wondered if Spencer was thinking what she was thinking. What's the Mall's new wing was just sort of place Allie DeLaurentis would have loved. Hanna often thought of these things Allie had missed. Last year's homecoming bonfire, Lauren Ryan's Sweet 16 karaoke party in her family's mansion, the return of the round-toed shoes, Chanel's leather iPod Nano holders, iPod Nanos, in general. But the biggest thing Allie had missed? Hanna's makeover, of course, and it was such a bummer she had. Sometimes when Hanna twirled around in front of her full-length mirror, she pretended that Allie was sitting behind her, critiquing her outfits the way she used to. Hanna had wasted so many years being chubby, clingy, and a loser, but things were so different now. She and Mona strode into Tiffany's. It was full of glass chrome and white lights that made the flawless diamonds extra shimmery. Mona prowled around the cases and then raised her eyebrows at Hanna. Maybe a necklace? What about a charm bracelet? Hanna whispered. Perfect. They walked to the case and eyed the silver charm bracelet with the heart-shaped toggle. So pretty, Mona breathed. Interested? An elegant older saleswoman asked. Oh, I don't know, Hanna said. It suits you. The woman unlocked the case and felt around for the bracelet. It's in all the magazines. Hanna nudged Mona. You try it. Mona slid it on her wrist. It's really beautiful. Then the woman turned to another customer. When she did, Mona slid the bracelet off her wrist into her pocket, just like that. Hanna mashed her lips together and flagged down another saleswoman, a honey blonde girl who wore coral lipstick. Can I try that bracelet there with the round charm? Sure, the girl unlocked the case. I have one of these myself. How about the matching earrings too? Hanna pointed them out. Of course. Mona had moved over to the diamonds. Hanna held the earrings with the bracelet in her hands. Together they were $350. Suddenly a swarm of Japanese girls crowded around the counter and pointed at another round charmed bracelet in the glass case. Hanna scanned the ceilings for cameras and the doors for detectors. Oh, Hanna, come look at this Lucida, Mona called. Hanna paused. Time slowed down. She slid the bracelet onto her wrist and then shoved it further up her sleeve. She stuck the earrings in her Louis Vuitton Cherry Mama Grand coin purse. Hanna's heart pounded. This was the best part of taking stuff, the feeling beforehand. She felt all buzzy and alive. Mona waved a diamond ring at her. Don't this look good on me? Come on, Hanna grabbed her arm. Let's go to Coach. You don't want to try any on? Mona pouted. She always stalled after she knew Hanna had done the job. Nah, Hanna said. Purses are calling our names. She felt the bracelet's silver chain press gently into her arm. She had to get out of here while the Japanese girls were still bustling around the counter. The salesgirl hadn't even looked in her direction. All right, Mona said dramatically. She handed the ring, holding it by its diamond, which even Hanna knew you weren't supposed to do, back to the saleswoman. These diamonds are too small, she said. Sorry. We have others, the woman tried. Come on, Hanna said, grabbing Mona's arm. Her heart hammered as they wove their way through Tiffany's. The charm twinkled on her wrist, but she kept her sleeve pulled down. Hanna was a seasoned pro at this. First it had been loose candy at the Wawa convenience store, then CDs from Tower, then baby C's from Ralph Lauren, and she felt bigger and more badass every time. She shut her eyes and crossed the threshold, bracelet holding herself for the alarms to blare. But nothing did. They were out. Mona squeezed her hand. Did you get one too? Of course, she flashed the bracelet around her wrist. And these. She opened the coin purse and showed Mona the earrings. Shit, Mona's eyes widened. Hanna smiled. Sometimes it felt good to one-up your best friend. Not wanting to jinx it, she walked away quickly from Tiffany's and listened for someone to come chasing after them. The only noise, though, was the burbling of the fountain and a music version of Oops, I Did It Again. Oh yes, I did, Hanna thought.